the ballroom, first of which will probably be several questions about this today, I imagine.
Is it a big story? To follow up on that, one thing that's not in the president's model is the East Wing bunker, the president's emergency operations center.
Can the president tear down anything he wants without oversight? Could he demolish this building or, say, the Jefferson Memorial?
So it's not the president who came up with that legal opinion himself. That's a legal opinion that's been held by the NCPC for many years.
Can he demolish anything he wants?
What do you think that
oversight?
rubble is? How did that rubble get there?
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Why not inform the public of that change and when it was decided that the East Wing would have to be demolished?
Two quick questions. Back to the ballroom.
Thanks, Caroline. Back to the ballroom.
You get the trend. The press corps with a bit of an obsession there as the latest White House press briefing turned into a seminar about construction after the press corps fixated almost entirely on the East Wing remodel. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-host Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business anchor and host of American Dream Home, Rosanna Scotto, Fox 5 New York anchor and Fox Nation host, and Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News senior medical analyst and professor of medicine at NYU Langone Health. Let's start here. The East Wing remodel dominating the briefing, as you just saw, and that's despite President Trump's administration making a handful of other recent headlines. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt fielded 9 questions about the ballroom, the most by far of any topic reporters even asked about. She got 4 questions on Russia and Ukraine. That's a pretty big topic. 2 on the president's pardon, 2 on immigration, and 2 on the ongoing government shutdown. Just 2, as the military is not getting paid. And 1 on a handful of other news items. Here's one defense of the ballroom that Caroline offered.
It's something that presidents have done for years and years. In fact, I have some photos here. Thank you, Pat, to show you the construction that's taken place on the White House grounds. This is the construction of the West Wing in 1902. Look at this, the construction of the West Terrace in 1902. These images look quite similar to what you and the American people are seeing today, the construction of the East Terrace as well. You look at the construction of the West Wing expansion in 1934. So look, this is a legal opinion that's been held for many years. Look at, this is 1950.
Yes,
it looks a lot like what you were seeing today.
Can he demolish anything he wants?
What do you think that
oversight?
rubble is? How did that rubble get there?
Right, so I'm asking.
Some Democrats came under fire for trying to use the construction project to build a case against President Trump. Let's bring in Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, posting this on X, quote, "The White House press secretary told the country that this ridiculous ballroom is the president's main priority. Not reopening the government, not lowering the cost of groceries, not lowering the cost of housing, not lowering the cost of health care, but building a ballroom." Critics were quick to point out that Crockett seemed to take Leavitt's answer entirely out of context. Listen for yourself.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
Other Democrats also flooded social media with their takes, like Senators Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren posting the video of their live reactions to the demolition on X. Look at those 2 lovely ladies. You know, Emily, I'm coming to you on this first. You've got 9 questions on a building project, and this comes the week after Middle East peace and week 4 of a government shutdown, which you've personalized in such an important way.
Yeah, I just think this is such an unfortunate disservice to the American people, and it shows the joke that much of the press corps is. I'm sure many of them hadn't heard of the National Capital Planning Commission until all of a sudden now, as they sort of join the collective uproar about this. You know, when the president created a ceasefire, when he brought home the hostages from Hamas, when he has done so many significant achievements, I only hear crickets from the press and also those Democratic lawmakers that were calling, for example, for the ceasefire and the hostage return. And then now, when he has accomplished so much, including doing it concurrently with all of this, they seem to fixate on this. And honestly, Kayleigh, I thought of you as I was watching that exchange yesterday, or many of those exchanges, because I just don't know how you did it. You have such grace, as does Caroline Leavitt. You guys, you exude such grace and preparation amidst such a false, entitled, sort of smug tone being levied at you, where they are all trying to get the president and Caroline in this like gotcha moment, when all he's doing for the first time is actually serving the American people. And I think we've covered ad nauseum on the couch how other presidents have engaged in all of this, and he's upgrading prior presidents' upgrades. But I think for me, this moment is the focus on how deeply disappointing that press corps and those Democrat leaders are.
It's so true. I mean, Dr. Siegel, and thank you for the kind words. I'm just thinking back to my tenure when there were any endless number of media hoaxes that took place that have since been debunked, like the Russia bounty story, among others. And there were, tons of Americans dying of COVID, and yet the fixation oftentimes was some side story.
Yeah. And you met them, just like Emily just said, with full loose sleeves, with information and facts, and you had them at your fingertips. And that set a precedent that I believe she's learning from. I mean, she's excellent, too. She learned that from you. Answer it with facts. By the way, speaking of facts, the history here, of course, they've got the media attacks are all wrong. In 1948, the East Room was sinking, and the president's bed was sinking. And Harry Truman said, I got to get out of here. And he spent $5.7 million, not 200 to 300 million, but of course, that was 1940s dollars. He moved to Blair House while they fixed the East Room and his bed, and there were stanchions they had to put up. But here's the point about this. The president isn't just the Democratic leader. He's also the leader of the free world, and there's a pageantry involved, and there's a showmanship involved, which he's amazing at. Of course he needs a ballroom to show off to foreign leaders, to show off to what we are, to stand tall. It's a really great idea.
It is, and Cheryl, I'm just thinking about the time of this press briefing, and we covered it here on Outnumbered. The vote to pay our military and essential workers was taking place, and the only Democrats who came across were Ossoff, Warnock, and Fetterman. One question on the government shutdown, really?
One question on SNAP benefits, food for those that need it. I mean, it was really incredible that there was so much. All I can think about as somebody that's been a journalist for so many years is they were just trying to figure out that was probably their lead story. They knew that was going to be their story later. They were just trying to get a good soundbite, that gotcha moment out of Caroline Leavitt, which is unfortunate, but that was the focus. With so many of the things going wrong right now under this shutdown. But, Dr. Siegel, you brought up a great point about, I've heard President Trump say this before, that when he goes to other countries, in particular when he's in the Middle East, he sees the airports, he sees the presidential palaces, whether it's in Europe or in the Middle East. He sees the way that he is greeted, and then he comes back to the White House, he looks around, and he says, I can fix this, and he can. Donald Trump was always Donald Trump, the real estate developer. Rosanna knows this very well. He has shaped the New York City skyline because of he knows how to take a building, either build one or fix it up and make it better. And that's what he's doing with the White House. They're also going after him about the cost, because initially he said it was going to be $200 million. Now it's going to be more like $300 million. Oh no, construction costs are higher than what the original budget or quote was for. Oh, shocking. Let's call the National Guard in. Give me a break.
Yeah, and Rosanna, that's a great point. I mean, you did see him shape the New York City skyline.
Absolutely. And it's not like he's building one of those skyscrapers with gold windows, right, on the White House property. It's going to be, obviously, something that leaves his mark on American history that's beautiful and Americans can take pride in. He just came back from Buckingham Palace, where he sat down with King Charles. I'm sure he looked at their ballroom and said, the White House doesn't come close to this. Mm-hmm. And he is a builder, and he's done many beautiful buildings here. And he's done some city projects that couldn't get done, that took years and years, and they spent millions and millions of dollars and never, the Woolman skating rink. That's the first time.
It's an iconic thing in New York City.
Right, which they could not get it done. And he did it in a few months and under budget.
Well, and look at how much tax dollars of ours was spent getting his name off the skating rink during the prior administration. I mean, the joke's on them, right? He uses his own funds to better American, sort of iconography and also the realities of diplomatic receipt, and they're wasting our tax dollars on just getting rid of his name. I mean, it's
such a good point, because I saw one Democrat say, we're going to investigate the ballroom. I'm like, So taxpayer dollars to investigate the privately funded ballroom that improves the White House. You've lost the plot, Democrats. You really have.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.